everybody. Or should we say ciao or buonasera, buongiorno.
Buongiorno.
Buongiorno, buonasera. We're here to talk about Italy because, or Italia, whatever you want to call it, depends on what language you speak. And we are going back to Italy again in 2015. We were there in 2014, and we were there before that. But we did a trip, a vegan trip with CPG, that's me, and DG, that's him. And we did this great trip in 2015. We partnered with Green Earth Travel and Tierno Tours and planned this really fantastic vegan trip to Italy, the Cilento region, the Amalfi region, and had such a fabulous time in 2014. And you can go to joyfulvegan.com/appearances and you can see the testimonials from the 2014 trip and people's experience. It really was really fantastic. And we're going again in June 2015. And we thought we would share with you our top 10 favorite things from that trip. Mm-hmm. And we're doing most of them again in the 2015 trip. And we're doing some new things as well. So we'll talk about those very briefly. So when I proposed to you that we do this, one of my first questions was, you know, what was one of your favorite things, what places that we went and or did or experiences that we had, right? And your first thought was what? Do you remember?
My very first thought?
And if you forget, I have a piece of paper here.
My very first thought?
Yeah.
I don't remember exactly what that one was, but I know. Oh, it's right there. Yeah. Oh, right. I believe there was a place called Pompeii that we went to.
Pompeii.
Which was pretty amazing. It was, I think we thought, you know, we'd heard a lot of folks go there. We thought, oh, it'll probably be, you know, okay. But it really was amazing to go there. It's an entire city that you can walk around, and it's enormous. I mean, it was really just amazing.
It was. I felt that it could have been built 100 years ago, and it was built when? What was it? I mean, when was it built? For people who don't know.
I mean, that was just back. At least 1,500 years old.
1,500 years old.
Maybe 2,000.
And then, of course, Mount Vesuvius erupted, and it was overtaken by the volcano, and because of that, it was also preserved for so many years. And, of course, we discovered in, what, the 1800s, was it?
I think around there. I think it might have been a little bit earlier, but about that.
So we are doing Pompeii again in 2015, and I'm excited to go back. Pompeii, I think, was a highlight.
It was a highlight, and the best pizza we had the entire trip was at a little stall outside of the Pompeii ruins. So I'm looking forward to going back there and getting another pizza.
Yeah, that's true. I forgot about that.
That's up against some pretty stiff competition because we had a lot of pizza out.
We had a lot of pizza, and it wasn't even our pizza. It was Seb's pizza, and we ate most of it. So we won't take Seb this time, or we'll take him and make him buy 3 pizzas. So, and Seb's coming back, for those who know Seb. Most of you don't. But Seb's coming back with Brady. The second thing we talked about, and this was really so striking, so obviously all the meals are taken care of. I mean, that's what you're paying for. It's an all-inclusive trip. So your accommodations, all of the sites that we see, all of the food that we eat, and we eat a lot of food and we eat a lot of meals, a lot. It's all taken care of. It's all part of the all-inclusive package. But one of the things, when we have free days or when you're just walking around or et cetera, or if you arrive before or stay longer, obviously you're getting your own food. And one of the things that was so amazing, and we live in California, so we get some pretty good produce here in California. One of the things that we were so struck by was the freshness of the produce, right?
The produce was amazing. The tomatoes, the cherry tomatoes specifically, were incredible. Yeah. And this is, as Colleen said, I mean, we get great stuff out here in California. From what I've heard, the reason why those tomatoes are so exceptional is because of Mount Vesuvius and the volcanic nature of the soil in that part of Italy. Mm. So they really are amazing. I mean, you can just walk around, buy a bunch, pop them in your mouth all day. I mean, they were just, you could eat them straight, and they were just incredible.
And we did a lot. Yeah, and so on that note, number 3, one of the things I talk about in my podcast, and I talk about it a lot, is, a lot of people think that in Europe it's hard to eat vegan when, as I always emphasize, vegan food is just food. It's fruits and vegetables and nuts and seeds and grains and beans and legumes and lentils and herbs and spices. And in Italy especially, where there's an emphasis on those whole foods, there was so much of it. I mean, again, it wasn't difficult at all in terms of all of our meals being planned for us, but our, Tierra and our tourists had no problem working with the restaurants to make sure that everything was plant-based and no animal product. It wasn't even like we had to tell anybody, just for those of you who are coming with us and those of you who are going to join us. It wasn't even like we had to do anything. It's that Tierra and tours had already arranged it. So we would sit down at a restaurant and food would just be brought to us and we would just eat. And that was, for me, number 4, was the long meals. And everybody talks about that, of course, in Europe, where they really know how to indulge and enjoy the community around food. And that was just so relaxing, because we here in the United States, we eat in our cars, we eat on the go, we eat while we're walking around. It's so wrong. And so, of course, it's vacation, so that's one of the reasons we were able to enjoy that so much more. But even people who are working, they're also stopping and taking these long lunches. And then they take long naps, which I have no tolerance for, but that's just me. You probably like that part.
That seems like a beautiful lifestyle to me. I can't believe we haven't moved there yet.
Yeah, that's not going to happen with the long naps part. I don't nap. That's just me. But for those of you who do nap, you have the opportunity to nap after these long meals. And then related to that, number 5 for me, and I think for everybody who was on this trip, and I think I'm speaking for everybody who was on this trip or who goes to Italy, is the communal meals. And so kind of related to that, we all as a group eat together, either in the restaurants that we're going to. One of my favorite excursions that we had done was outside of Filito, and I don't remember the name of the town. It was some hill town. Well, it was this restaurant on top of a hill. And do you remember that? They had us eat inside because they were afraid it was going to rain, and so they didn't set up the tables outside. But we all went outside right after we ate, and it was just magical. We were on top of this hill, just had views of just this whole countryside, and had the most fabulous communal meal, just everybody enjoying and eating and sharing and drinking and then just going outside and drinking more.
There was an olive grove behind the restaurant that we were looking at, and you could just see a beautiful expanse out in front of us, and it was just a wonderful time.
Yeah, that was fantastic. So that was a favorite, and we're doing that again. And we're doing, obviously, all the meals are communal meals, and then communal cooking. So one of the days, which we're doing again, we're going to Padula, and that was a really special day. We went to see this amazing monastery, and we went to Joe Petrosino's house. It's a really amazing place. And so in Padula, when we went, so one of the things we did in Padula was we all gathered produce from a produce stand, and everybody kind of paired up. And when we got home that night back to the villa, everybody chipped in, and I think it was one of the highlights of the trip. Everyone pitched in and made this amazing meal that we all sat down and had together.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun.
It was just amazing. So we're doing that again. Obviously, we're doing the communal meals, but we're also going to be doing that communal cooking. And then related to that, related to all of it, is number 7 was the wine, because, it's Italy. And every meal, whatever, if you don't want to drink the wine, you don't have to, but we did have wine at almost every meal, which is
It makes a lot of sense when you're in Italy to have wine with pretty much everything.
Yeah, it was lovely, and it was just really beautiful. And what was so amazing that we all identified was that we drank, we would drink, at the dinner time and at that communal meal and afterwards, and then I showed my Game of Thrones dance and whatever. And it wasn't because of the wine, it's because people asked to see my dance. And then no one had hangovers. That's what was so remarkable. So some people identify the fact that there are no sulfites in the Italian wines because these are all locally made, so there's no preservatives because everyone's drinking what they're making just within a 10-mile region. Maybe not, I don't know, but it was really fantastic. So we really enjoyed the wine and really had a good time, but never felt bad the next day. We'd be up the next day, pretty early to start our excursions. So that was fun. That was my number 7. And then just the idea that it was a completely different region. We hadn't ever been to Cilento. This is all southern Italy.
Yeah, it doesn't really get the press or the coverage that Amalfi does, or Umbria, Florence, and that sort of thing, Tuscany. And yet, it's an absolutely beautiful part of Italy. Wonderful rolling hills. You drive around a lot in between these valleys and hills, and you get these beautiful vistas all over the place. But it's really, it's basically a giant park, in fact. They're not allowed to build anything new in this giant park where all these towns are. But you really get a much better sense as to what it is like living there day to day in Italy, which I think was one of the parts that I really enjoyed about it.
Yeah, and it was just so relaxing, and just we really got to know the culture and the people. And that's, for me, what's really special about traveling in a way like this, when the people that we're traveling with who are organizing all of this, they live there, and they're also fully fluent in Italian and fully fluent in English, which was obviously helpful for everybody. Then for sure, I think one of the highlights, which I think we'll be able to do, if we don't do it in Amalfi, we'll be doing it. But we took this hike, and it was magical, amazing.
But it's called the Walk of the Gods. And it's for good reason they call it that.
Yeah, that's right. I forgot that. I really did forget that was called that. Yeah. It's, breathtaking. Yeah.
You in Amalfi, there's obviously the great coastline, and there's towns that are closer to the water, but also some that are way up on the hillside there. And so what we did was we ended up taking, it's actually a network of paths all up and down the Amalfi coast. So you walk on part of the Walk of the Gods, basically. So we spend an entire day walking way up, I don't know, hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of steps to get actually to the top. Then you walk through a couple towns at the top, and then you end up taking, hundreds and hundreds of steps down, basically. We went to the next town.
That's right.
And then I think we took the bus back.
We did. Do you remember what happened when we were walking down and down and down and down?
Then it started raining.
Yes, it did. Yeah. Pouring rain. And we weren't really prepared. But how wonderful was it? And then we found some cave, and sat in the cave, or some abandoned cabin, and went in the cabin and let the rain finish. And then we got to this little town, and we got some amazing gelato, right? Some chocolate gelato. Remember that? Or you had the beer. Maybe you didn't have the gelato.
That was an amazing beer.
That was an amazing beer. Well, after that hike.
After hiking for 7 hours up and down.
Yeah, that's the best beer
hillsides.
Yeah. And the best gelato ever. So what we're doing this year is a lot of that. We're also going to be incorporating some things that we learned we want to do differently because we've done this before. One of the things we're going to do is we're going to connect with some just, locals in Foligno and make fusilli pasta. So you can see how fusilli is the corkscrew pasta, and you're going to see how that's made. We're going to try and hit a winery because we just, there's so much wine made in that region. And so we want to bring people to see how the wine's made. And again, because these are really special vineyards, because of the volcanic soil, it really changes the wine itself. We wanted people to experience that.
And it is amazingly local, the wines out there. I mean, really almost everyone has a plot of land where they've got some grapevines growing. So everyone just makes it like in their basements, at the back of the house, wherever. So that's a lot of fun too.
It was so much fun. It was just like, there's no labels on the I wouldn't say vats. We weren't drinking from vats, but we were drinking from jars, and just these huge jugs,
large
jars,
jugs,
vats, and no labels because they're all just like made down the street. So special, just super, super special. And so we're doing a lot of that, and we're doing some other things. You can see the itinerary at joyfulvegan.com and go to appearances. You can just look at the entire itinerary and join us. It's really going to be fabulous. I know really secretly that most people are coming because they want to travel with David-Goudreau, because that's why I'm going. Why would you miss this opportunity? Why would you pass this opportunity up?
That's right.
So yeah.
Once in a lifetime, folks.
Exactly. Don't pass this up. Travel with DMG to Italy and have a fabulous time. You can see all the information there, and you can even see, and I have some testimonials there as well. And I won't read them here because that's just boring, but I can tell you that the people who came in 2014, it wasn't just a trip. It really was an experience. And we developed relationships. Everybody who was there was just such a fabulous group of people. And I know it's going to be the same thing in the next trip, in the 2015 trip. Just really like-minded, wonderful people who want to travel with other like-minded people, who want to enjoy Italy, who want to enjoy the company of David-Goudreau, and who want to enjoy just good food and not have to worry at all about, any animal products being in everything. But I really encourage you to join us and sign up, and it really is kind of a once-in-a-lifetime thing. Who knows how long we're going to be doing these trips, but we are excited to partner again with Green Earth Travel and with Tierra Tours with Gretchen and Pasquale and see them again, and we're hoping to see you as well. So go to joyfulvegan.com/appearances and sign up. There are only a couple slots left, so I really encourage you to sign up as soon as possible and enjoy Italia with us. So that's it.
So join us.
Basta. Ciao.
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 Ciao bella.
Ah, sì, ciao bello. Sì, ok, ciao.